Well, not every day you get to go into a world and find a dragon you can actually hop on the back of, but that's besides the point. I wanted to talk about how this fandom seems to be evolving very rapidly. Now, there's a few things that I think that's going on. One in particular is the rise of VR. VR is actually becoming much more affordable at this point, and you can do so many more things with it. Like earlier today, I was looking at the Castlevania castle, Dracula's castle. It was absolutely fantastical to see something like that, especially in this type of platform. And now, I find myself on the back of a dragon. Yeah, I've got my own wings, but riding the back of a dragon? Come on. How is this not your fantasies-filled dreams right now? These are things that you just don't always see. Now, when it comes to this fandom with the furry ideas behind it and the furry persona and creating artwork for yourself and doing so much more, the whole fantasy of it makes that way more lifelike. It makes it so much more, and then you start to understand where people really dive into something that makes them feel a lot better of a person. They find an outward force, they find a passion in life, and that's where the consistency behind something like this has really taken hold. Now, if you look around at some of the events that have gone out there, look at the attendance records for this fandom. MFF, Midwest Fur Fest, they just had their event last month there, or at the beginning of the month, I should say. It's not quite 2025 yet, but they had 16,000 people show up to that convention. Here where I am in Edmonton, you have another furry con called Furry. They had just about 2,000 people show up, and I expect that to grow exponentially because they have a bigger venue coming up next year. These are things that are just growing. So many more people are being drawn to this. And with the whole idea of a fantasy realm where you can sit there and morphosize creatures that you want something more behind them, it just becomes larger than life. The ever-evolving of this fandom is something that I find myself in, day out. It's, when I first started playing Dungeons and Dragons, the idea of that, at that time, I had no clue what I was doing. We'd roll up some characters, we'd play some stuff, but I learned a lot of social interaction. I learned a lot of things that I still use from that today, like some leadership roles and stuff like that, being able to how to delegate and being able to do things like that in my real life, the more humanized things. And that's where I have drawn to in a very long time, or to a lot of these things, being able to just be able to lead and do other things like that, be able to learn those skills of how to socially interact with people out there in the world. Now, the furry side of things, yeah, things are a little bit strange, and when you have a different concept on how things should be, that's part of it. Now, when you get into one of these events, one of these cons, you see some friends that you've never seen before, or that you've just made them online. And this is the other thing with VR. VR has now opened the world up for this type of thing. It used to be only on like forums, where you'd have role-playing forums, where you would have more behind it, where artwork was the passion behind it. Now, you get things like this, where you're out in the middle of the sky, you get to be on the back of a dragon. This is absolutely phenomenal to see in a platform that at one point was probably falling to the wayside, but now you're seeing a lot more people, a lot more things, especially with Christmas that just happened here, where you have a lot of people that maybe picked up a headset for the first time for a Christmas present. You're going to see a small influx of people probably online joining and going, you know what? This is a lot of fun. It's a lot of detail, a lot of fantasy, a lot of knowledge and lore behind things that just come to fruition. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I recently spoke about how possibly the fandom is a little bit more out there, how everyone has a more different opinion on the way things are, how they can express themselves very differently. Well, now you're going to see a lot more influx, and you're going to see things grow again, because this just seems to be a phenomenon that's going on through the world right now. Every time I look around, or even looking at my old friends of the past that, God rest their soul at this point, I look back and just think everything they did they would have absolutely loved this type of thing in the world. They would have fallen head over heels just to be able to do what I'm doing right now. Being able to ride on the back of a dragon in a world, this is absolutely insane. This is gorgeous of a world. And like the toggle controls on this one is super easy to manipulate. Like you easily just rotate it around, and you can get a little bit faster or a little bit slower. And you can even break it. It's very, very fantasy-like. And I mean, what's next? Like, where do I go from here? Where do I go? Like, do I turn around and start trying to look at something more? Do I bring this into the real life a little bit more? I'm not entirely sure. I just know I'm evolving, and I know everything else in this fandom is evolving very rapidly. So for me, it's been a absolute hell of a ride. And if anyone else can take these rides, and you just have that gumption, you have that inkling that this is something that you might like, of course, subscribe to the channel, do all those things, and just enjoy life. I have so much more happiness now, just accepting that I can do something more and just have fun with it. And being able to look around a world like this, at the clouds, at a floating island that I see in front of me that I'm probably going to do a flyby here real quick. This is unreal. This is absolutely unreal. And you don't actually need a headset to even experience this. If you are on a PC, you can actually there's actually a downloadable app or a downloadable program that you can do, and you just run it with your PC. You don't even actually need a VR headset. I gotta say, in VR, this is absolutely incredible. But on top of that, being able to just evolve and do something more. Is that the Sword Art Online castle or stage? I can't remember. That's kind of cool. We got a volcano behind us floating. This is unreal. Look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna strafe around. You can see this. I don't know if that's Sword Art Online. It kind of reminds me of that. It very well could be. It might not be. I haven't seen the anime in a little while now. But just being able to see these things up close and personal, this is unreal. And honestly, VR chat, I gotta say, some of the worlds that I've seen in the last little bit have been absolutely incredible. And then you look at the furry side of things, and you just have a lot of fun with it. Now, you don't have to be a furry to be on VR chat. You don't. There is very many people that aren't. And at the same time, you're in a world where you have an avatar, you get to do so many more things with life. So for me, it was like, why the hell not? I've been having so much more fun. So many more things. Look at this. Look at this thing. We can just fly everywhere in this. Anyway, you know what? I'm dumbfounded at things that I see now and again, and this is one of those worlds, and I just wanted to have a quick little talk. Have yourselves a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am your proud Canadian Phoenix, Cindershadow. I'm signing off here, and I will see you again very soon.